Alright, there is something big happening with Donald Trump's appointments, and we need to talk about it in a raw, objective way, because I firmly believe he's trying to force a constitutional crisis. Now, just to back up, even Trump's biggest supporters can agree that he wants to game every single system he's a part of. He wants to break the systems, whether it's him gaming the tax code throughout the 2000s, whether it's him gaining zoning laws in the 90s to build houses, or whether it's him finding loopholes so he can build casinos in certain areas. He likes to game the system. But when you take that to the national stage of politics, that means gaming the Constitution, gaming the laws that have been set in place since the inception of America. And I want to present to you my thesis. Donald Trump is taking aim at the Constitution itself yet again. This isn't the fake elector scheme. This may be worse. He is using some of the most controversial figures in politics today to strong-arm his way into a constitutional crisis. Now, to lay the groundwork, you need to understand what a recess appointment is. A recess appointment is a loophole that lets the president temporarily fill vacant positions without Senate confirmation while the Congress is on break. So, if the Senate adjourns, then the president can appoint people to certain positions temporarily while the Senate is gone. But Donald Trump is trying to find loopholes to extend that, and let me just explain. So he's trying to exploit this process to appoint highly controversial figures that never would make it through in any other case. For example, this woman testified to the House Ethics Committee not long ago that Matt Gaetz had sex with her when she was 17. She was an underage girl. And what does Donald Trump do? He appoints Matt Gaetz to the highest, most powerful law enforcement position in the country, the Attorney General. We can even talk about Tulsi Gabbard. Trump's pick for the top intelligence job in the United States has been accused of traitorous parroting of Russian propaganda. Not even accused. If you've been following Tulsi Gabbard, you know that she parrots Russian propaganda verbatim, and Kamala Harris even called her out for this years ago. Tulsi Gabbard, who has never worked in the intelligence world, has denied accusations that she promoted Kremlin disinformation, but she did it in Russian. I made up that Russian part, but she does parrot Russian disinformation all of the time. I can even mention Pete Hegseth, Pentagon pick left guard after being reported as a possible insider threat. You guys get the idea. These are all people with extreme views or serious controversies surrounding them, and they wouldn't make it through a normal confirmation hearing. The Senate would never confirm these people, and Mike Johnson has confirmed that himself. Listen to
The
this.
investigation ended this week when Gaetz abruptly resigned from Congress hours after Trump tapped him to be his attorney general. At the time, House Speaker Mike Johnson was non-committal on whether the committee's report should be released.
As far as the timing of a release or report or something, I don't know. The Speaker of the House is not involved in that, can't be involved in that.
But today, after attending a gala with the president-elect at Mar-a-Lago, Johnson declaring the report should never see the light of day.
These people are so spineless. So Mike Johnson went in the course of like 12 hours from, it's not my position. The Speaker of the House should not get involved in these things. Now he's trying to pressure the House committee that investigated this into not releasing the report, which is insane. And the reason why Matt Gaetz is a huge flashpoint in particular, Tulsi Gabbard might be more damaging in the long run, but the reason why Matt Gaetz in particular is a flashpoint is because he's under investigation for sleeping with an underage girl. He's being investigated by the Department of Justice. So on day one, he would demand these files on his desk. He would know the information of every single witness, all of their testimony. He would know their address, their phone numbers. And yeah, he wants to be in a position where he oversees the law enforcement in this country, the most powerful law enforcement position in the country. And Donald Trump is trying to brush these allegations under the rug. It is insane. And just as a broader point, the Senate exists as a check on the president's power. The Senate exists to check Trump's power or Biden's power. So by bypassing the Senate's approval, Trump is not only ignoring that system, but actively working to undermine it, which causes sort of a domino effect. Because once these figures are in their roles, even temporarily, once they gain the influence, the power, and the resources to start enacting Trump's agenda, they're not going to be able to be removed. I mean, by the time the Senate reconvenes, it's going to be much harder politically to vote them out, to remove them. So this is a classic Trump tactic of trying to strong-arm people into positions. He's trying to break the system, create chaos, and leave the mess for others to clean up. I mean, he pressured Mike Pence on January 6th. He pressured election officials. He tried to weaponize the DOJ into spreading election lies for him. Even his own Attorney General Bill Barr, who he appointed back in 2017. Keep in mind, he appointed Bill Barr, and Bill Barr said, man, I can't spread these election fraud lies for you. I just can't do that. So Trump thrives on spreading chaos and disorder the same way that Vladimir Putin does. It's absolutely disgusting. And the reason I started to think about this today is because friend of the show, Harry Litman, was featured in a Huffington Post article that reads, former federal prosecutor says Gaetz has zero chance of being confirmed as AG. But the thing is, he has zero chance of being confirmed. I agree, but what if he doesn't have to be confirmed? Former U.S. Attorney Harry Litman says Matt Gaetz, who was at one point investigated for allegedly trafficking a 17-year-old, won't be confirmed by the Senate. Now, Harry Litman is a MeidasTouch contributor, and he says that because Gaetz was once the subject of a sex trafficking probe, and the House Ethics Committee has that report, that the senators will have access to that. When the DOJ ultimately declined to press charges and the House probe effectively ended when Gaetz resigned, the firebrand Republican will still have to be vetted before securing his new job. In an appearance on MSNBC's All In with Chris Hayes, Litman denounced the nomination, but again, I don't think the dude even needs to be confirmed. Tulsi Gabbard, for example, has cozied up to authoritarian leaders and pushed divisive narratives that only work to benefit Vladimir Putin and Russia, and she is not exactly a unifier, and she doesn't exactly have the highest chance of getting through either. None of these people are confident picks. Pete Hegseth is almost more ridiculous. RFK Jr. maybe can get through because he's popular among other senators, but Matt Gaetz is not. Matt Gaetz is notoriously unpopular, which leads me to wonder, is Trump going to jam these people through? And here's the rule as I understand it. Essentially, if Trump appoints these people, they can be in place until the end of the next congressional session, but Congress uses all of these loopholes so their sessions sometimes don't end for 6 months to a year to 18 months. So again, Matt Gaetz would be in this position, even if it's only for 3 months, after he's used all of these resources, after he's begun to settle into his role and gain this power and influence. It's very unlikely that the senators will take that back. It's very hard politically for them to do that. And listen to this. The probe was paused as the DOJ pursued similar allegations against Gaetz until 2023 when prosecutors announced he won't face prosecution. A former associate of Matt Gaetz, one of his close friends, was sentenced in 2022 for charges including sex trafficking of a minor. Quote, Joel Greenberg is rotting in jail for the same thing Matt Gaetz did, Litman said Friday. What does he have on him that he can blackmail? What girls, minor or not, can come forward? And again, we know for a fact that a 17-year-old girl talked to the House Ethics Committee and said that Matt Gaetz had sex with her. So let me know what you guys think. You guys understand what I mean when I'm saying that he's trying to force a constitutional crisis, right? He's trying to subvert the Constitution, and it will be an absolute mess. So my call to action for you guys is that this isn't just about Trump's newest scheme. It's about protecting the Constitution over the next 4 years by pushing back on this disinformation relentlessly. So stay informed, stay active, don't give up, don't concede any ground. Make sure you drop a like on this video if you appreciate what I do. I appreciate you guys more than you know. You can become a member below to help support the independent journalism community as Trump tries to attack us. But other than that, have a great rest of your day and peace out.